The Thompson. The gangster's darling, an American icon known for its heavy punch and devastating accuracy. The MP40, the symbol of the Blitzkrieg, a machine built for simplicity and maneuverability. And the ppsh-41, the Soviet solution, a metal-stamping masterpiece that flooded the front lines with unprecedented firepower. This is the ultimate showdown of close-quarters combat weaponry, heavy machining versus rapid mass production. Which submachine gun truly dominated the deadly urban and trench warfare of World War II? We begin with the machine that redefined infantry fire superiority on the Eastern Front, the Pistolet Pulemyot Shpagina, or ppsh-41. This rifle was the Soviet firestorm, engineered specifically for overwhelming close-range suppression, putting immense volume of fire into the hands of the average soldier. Its defining feature was its rate of fire, blazing at over 900 rounds per minute, coupled with the high-capacity 71-round drum magazine, giving Soviet soldiers a massive, sustained tactical advantage in urban fighting. The ppsh-41 fired the high-velocity 7.62 by 25 mm Tokarev round, which had superior penetration compared to the pistol rounds used by its Western rivals. A unique and crucial historical fact highlights its simplicity. The design was so robust and easy to manufacture, largely utilizing stamped sheet metal, that Soviet factories produced over 6 million units, and German troops frequently sought to use captured ppsh-41s over their own MP40s because of the weapon's superior reliability and devastating rate of fire. We transition now to the Maschinenpistole 40, the unmistakable symbol of the early German war machine, though often mistakenly called the Schmeisser. This weapon was the German standard, a machine built for simplicity and the fast-moving Blitzkrieg doctrine, initially equipping paratroopers, vehicle crews, and squad leaders. The MP40 was a revolution in manufacturing philosophy, pioneering the widespread use of stamped sheet metal and early synthetic polymers over expensive, slow-to-produce milled steel. This made it cheaper and dramatically faster to assemble than any previous submachine gun. Its primary role was controlled close-range fire, emphasized by its deliberately slow rate of fire, around 500 rounds per minute, which ensured superior accuracy in short bursts and conserved the vital 9 by 19 mm parabellum ammunition. Ergonomically, its greatest innovation was the folding metal stock, which made the weapon incredibly compact for use inside armored personnel carriers in confined spaces, perfectly fitting the needs of a mechanized army. Its magazine housing cleverly doubled as a forward support point, further aiding stability. A unique and incredibly important historical fact about the MP40 is that its construction was so simplified that it ushered in the era of modern, high-volume firearms production. It required no complex machining for the main receiver component, proving that war-winning weapons could be produced quickly and affordably by less skilled labor. Despite its superiority in control and manufacturing economy, it had a critical battlefield weakness. Its 32-round straight magazine was designed with a dual-stack column that tapered into a single feed point, making it highly prone to feeding failures, especially when dirtied, a chronic issue on the muddy Eastern Front. This technical flaw often left the German soldier at a devastating disadvantage when facing the high-capacity, relentless drum of the Soviet ppsh-41. The MP40's design goal was practicality and efficiency, making it the perfect sidearm for a mechanized army, even if it lacked the raw, overwhelming offensive firepower of its Soviet and American counterparts. We now examine the third corner of the triangle, the Thompson submachine gun, known universally as the Tommy gun. This was the American close-quarters destroyer, already a legend before World War II began due to its use by police and, famously, gangsters. The Thompson's primary advantage was the ammunition it fired, the massive .45 ACP round. While slower than the 9mm or 7.62mm Tokarev, the .45 ACP possessed devastating stopping power and massive wound potential, making it exceptionally effective for clearing bunkers, trenches, and confined urban spaces, the quintessential man-stopper. Its construction was brutally robust, built entirely from heavy, precision-milled steel, making it exceptionally reliable and highly durable, capable of taking immense punishment in the field, particularly in the unforgiving jungle environments of the Pacific. Unlike the MP40 and ppsh-41, the Thompson was fundamentally a product of pre-war thinking. The early M1928 model was technologically complex and required dozens of labor-intensive machining steps and precision parts. A unique and critical economic fact is that the original model cost the U.S. government around $209 per unit at the start of the war, an exorbitant sum that was the weapon's most significant flaw. This colossal cost forced the U.S. to radically simplify the design into the M1 and M1A1 models, which eliminated complex features like the expensive Blish lock system and the complicated 50-round drum magazine. American troops largely favored these simple 30-round stick magazines over the heavier, complex drum, improving the weapon's handling and reliability, though limiting its overall sustained rate of fire compared to the Soviet drum. Despite the simplifications, the Thompson remained the heaviest and most expensive submachine gun of the war, a stark logistical contrast to the sheet metal efficiency of its rivals. It was a reliable, hard-hitting brute, but its cost and weight meant it could never be the truly universal, mass-issued infantry weapon that the ppsh-41 became on the Eastern Front. The true measure of these weapons is how their specific characteristics translated into combat effectiveness, which brings us to the combat metrics: firepower versus control. The ppsh-41 was the undisputed champion of volume and suppression. Its blistering rate of fire, peaking at over 900 rounds per minute, coupled with the massive 71-round drum, created a literal wall of fire. In the dense urban fighting of Stalingrad, or the close-quarters defensive trenches, this overwhelming firepower was tactically decisive, enabling Soviet troops to clear rooms and hostile positions almost instantly. A unique and critical consequence of this speed was that Soviet doctrine emphasized simply pointing the weapon and hosing down the enemy's position, sacrificing accuracy for sheer terror and volume. However, this high rate of fire was a massive logistical drain on ammunition and made the weapon exceptionally difficult to control, particularly in sustained bursts, leading to significant wastage. In stark contrast, the MP40 prioritized accuracy and control. Its deliberately slow 500 rounds per minute was a key ergonomic choice that allowed the operator to maintain tight groupings and controlled short bursts, conserving the limited 9mm ammunition. In the close confines of Western Europe and North Africa, its folding stock and controllable fire made it the ideal weapon for fast-moving patrols and armored crew defense. But when faced with the Soviet mass tactics, the MP40's low magazine capacity and slow fire rate were often simply overwhelmed by the relentless fire of the ppsh. The Thompson occupied the middle ground in terms of fire rate, combining moderate cyclic speed with the sheer mass of the weapon to help mitigate the heavy recoil of the powerful .45 ACP round, giving it better control than the ppsh, particularly with the 30-round stick magazines. A unique fact underscoring its firepower is the immense kinetic energy transferred by a single .45 ACP round, often rendering follow-up shots unnecessary, making it the most lethal weapon in a single, sudden close-quarters encounter. Yet, its excessive weight made it cumbersome for long patrols and flanking maneuvers, particularly when compared to the lightweight stamped steel construction of the MP40. Ultimately, the choice between these three was dictated by doctrine. The Soviets demanded maximum suppression, the Germans required controllable simplicity, and the Americans valued reliable stopping power, resulting in three vastly different solutions to the problem of close combat. We now transition to the area where the final victory is often decided: the logistical and industrial comparison. Here, the strategic worth of the three guns is laid bare. The Thompson, built with heavy precision-milled steel and complex, tight-fitting parts, was a logistical headache and a massive drain on resources. Its high cost required the U.S. military to spend massive sums per unit, limiting its mass deployment. A crucial strategic fact: the time and highly skilled labor required to manufacture just one Thompson could have produced 4 or 5 of its stamped counterparts. This complexity led directly to the development of cheaper stamped alternatives like the M3 inches grease gun. The MP40, was the first major step toward industrial efficiency. Its reliance on stamping and welding dramatically reduced labor time and material usage compared to the Thompson, making it logistically sound for the Wehrmacht. Its folding stock and modular design made it compact and easy to transport in bulk. However, it still required dedicated military maintenance, and its specialized 9mm ammunition supply was constantly under pressure, especially on the distant Eastern Front. The ppsh-41, however, was the absolute industrial champion. It was designed from the ground up for wartime expediency and ruthless simplicity. The entire weapon, including the receiver, relied on basic stamped sheet metal construction, meaning it could be produced in non-specialized factories by relatively unskilled civilian labor. This resulted in relentless production, with over 6 million units being churned out. A unique and deciding logistical fact is the raw cost difference. While the Thompson initially cost over $200, the final wartime unit cost of the ppsh-41 was reduced to less than $15, representing an unparalleled level of production efficiency. This efficiency allowed the Soviets to overwhelm the German lines with a torrent of firepower, ensuring that for every German soldier with an MP-40, there were countless Soviet soldiers with a ppsh-41. The ppsh-41 was not just a weapon, it was a devastating industrial strategy that proved decisive on the Eastern Front. We now reach the final, complex verdict. The title of Best Submachine Gun of World War II depends entirely on the operational criteria, but only one can be the ultimate close-quarters king. The MP-40 was the most elegant and controllable. Its slow rate of fire, folding stock, and excellent ergonomics made it the superior weapon for specialist use in controlled, short-burst skirmishes. The Thompson was the undisputed champion of sheer stopping power. Its heavy .45 ACP round delivered unmatched kinetic energy, and its complex milled construction ensured rock-solid reliability in harsh conditions. But its prohibitive cost and weight made it wholly impractical for true mass deployment. The ppsh-41 was the weapon that redefined close-quarters effectiveness through overwhelming volume and strategic availability. While it was crude and its high rate of fire made it difficult to control, its 71-round drum and blistering 900-plus rounds per minute gave the Soviet soldier the crucial edge in urban and trench warfare, where suppressing the enemy was more important than achieving pinpoint accuracy. The ultimate decisive factor is industrial strategy. The ppsh-41 was built so cheaply and quickly, for less than $15 per unit, that the Red Army could equip entire assault groups and divisions, ensuring that German infantry were always outnumbered and outgunned in close combat by a relentless wave of Soviet firepower. It was a victory of strategic capacity over technical refinement. The ppsh-41's ability to deliver immense, sustained suppression reliably and in overwhelming numbers makes it the most effective instrument of mass destruction of the three. It was the best possible weapon for the brutal reality of the Eastern Front. The Pistolet Pulemyach Bagina 41 is the ultimate close-quarters king. If you enjoyed this detailed comparison of these three legendary close-quarters weapons, please take a moment to like this video and share your choice for the best SMG in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to History Gear for more in-depth military history analysis and weapon duels just like this every week.